नामचारी श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासति गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, नवदीप धाम की, श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी की, यमुना माई की, श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bir Krishna Goswami Niti Namne. Namo Om Stanika Shaya Prabhupada Priyate Shuddhashti Nishtapyam Tasya Vakyadvadine. Okay, so good morning and Hare Krishna to everyone. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 28, and it's titled Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service. Welcome also to our online viewers on Mayapur TV and ISKCON Sydney YouTube and ISKCON Facebook. So this morning we are reading from text 20. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay. Tasmil labdha padam chittam Sarvavayava samstitham Vilakshaikatra samyujyad Ange bhavato munihi Tasmil labdha padam chittam Sarvavayava samstitham Vilakshaikatra samyujyat Ange bhagavato munihi Tasmil labdha padam chittam Sarvavayava samstitham Vilakshaikatra samyujyat Ange bhagavato munihi Tasmil labdha padam chittam Sarvavayava samstitham Vilakshaikatra samyujyat Ange bhagavato munihi Tasmil labdha padam chittam Sarvavayava samstitham Vilakshaikatra samyujyat Ange bhagavato munihi Tasmillabdha padam chittam sarvavayavya samsitam vilakshyat katra samyujya ange bhagavato munihi. Tasmillabdha padam chittam samsitam vilakshya katra samyujya ange bhagavato munihi. Ladies, tasmai labdha padam chittam sarvavayava samstitam vilaikshay katra samyujya ange bhagavato munihi. Okay, tasmin, on the form of the Lord. Labdha padam, fixed. Chittam, the mind. Sarva, all. Avayava, limbs. Samstitam, fixed upon. Vilakshya, having distinguished. Ekatra, in one place. Samyujat, should fix the mind. Ange, on each limb. Bhagavata, of the Lord. Muni, the sage. Okay, so the translation for this morning's shloka is, in fixing his mind on the eternal form of the Lord, the yogi should not take a collective view of all his limbs, but should fix the mind on each individual limb of the Lord. So we can all repeat. In fixing his mind on the eternal form of the Lord, the yogi should not take a collective view of all his limbs, but should fix his mind on each of individual limb of the Lord. Sorry about that. Okay, so the purport, by His Divine Grace, I see Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so the purport, the word Muni is very significant. Muni means one who is very expert in mental speculation or in thinking, feeling and willing. He is not mentioned here as a devotee or yogi. Those who try to meditate on the form of the Lord are called munis. Those who try to meditate on the form of the Lord are called munis. Or less intelligent. Whereas those who render actual service to the Lord are called bhakti yogis. Those who render actual service to the Lord are called bhakti yogis. The thought process described below is for the education of the Muni, in order to convince the yogi that the absolute truth or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never impersonal at any time. The following verses prescribe observing the Lord in his personal form, limb after limb. To think of the Lord as a whole may sometimes be impersonal. Therefore, what to do? Therefore, it is recommended here that one first think of his lotus feet, and then his ankles, then the thighs, then the waist, then the chest, then the neck, then the face, and then so on. So start off with the lotus feet. One should begin from the lotus feet and gradually rise to the upper limbs of the transcendental body of the Lord. That's interesting. So, Mangal Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, this morning is an interesting one. It's about how to meditate on the Lord. Most of us, we struggle when we are chanting, because when we are chanting, we want a way to be able to focus the mind on Krishna. And there are many different ways of focusing on Krishna. So I will read a little bit from Srila Prabhupada's explanations today, very small ones. And also we can talk about what it means to actually meditate on Krishna. What is it? What is the effect of it exactly? So it's a general rule of thumb. When we chant, the best way, because when we are starting, we want to know exactly what to be thinking of, right? Because sometimes when we chant, we think, okay, I have to maybe make some bhoga, cook some bhoga for an offer to Krishna, or maybe you are thinking, I've got to collect the car from the garage, or you are thinking, I've got to pick up the kids from the school, or I've got some insurance to pay, or something like that. There are many things running through your mind when you are chanting. So how to fix the mind on the Lord? It's a very tricky one, because just like Arjun said in the Bhagavad Gita, the mind is just like a hurricane force. You cannot, control the mind to say, think this, think that, think that. So it's very difficult. And even if you do, but it's going to be controlled for 5 seconds, and after that, the 6th second, you'll say, oh, the car, I've got to collect the car, or something like that. It will deviate. So then what to do? So chanting is actually a process. I'm talking about chanting because it's a little bit more practical to us. We are not like the yogis who are sitting there in the forest and going, Om, Om. We don't do that. So what is it that we do? We chant and we try. That is our meditation period. So everybody has a different trick. Some people like to chant when there is absolute silence, there's no one around, and they sit in a corner and they chant, and that's their peace. And for that time, they focus on their chanting, and it is recommended that you hear the sound vibration. So that one of the tricks is actually your hearing, sense of hearing. When you are listening to the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then your senses are focused on the sound. If your senses are focused on the sound, Krishna says he's present in the sound, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? So your focus is in the right direction because you are focusing on the sound, listening. You are just listening. That's one trick. Another trick is actually to look at the photo or deity of Krishna. So that is something that I personally use a lot. So if I'm chanting here, you will see me looking at one picture and then the other picture and then the other picture. They are forms of Krishna. And my personal experience on that, because we're talking about meditating now, they say that you know, in the Shastra today, in the shloka today, is that lotus feet, you have to meditate on the lotus feet. So if you're looking at the picture, try to find Krishna's lotus feet first. My personal experience, like I was saying, when I went to Krishna Kaliya temple, I was in Fiji. I did that trick. I went, actually the devotees over there, they offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and then Tamal Krishna Maharaj is there. They'll offer Tamal Krishna Maharaj obeisances. This is how they do it there in Fiji. Then some devotees will individually go to all the pictures on the wall and touch the feet. Or at least put their hands together. So they offer obeisances to all the pictures too. Then they go to the deities. So I followed suit because I'm learning from association and doing the same thing. So this is like my meditation on the Lord. So I went to one of the pictures there, and Yashoda Mai was holding baby Krishna like this, that photo. And Krishna was, very lovingly holding the shoulders of his mother, and very much, in his mother's arms. And I saw the picture withdraw from me literally. Like Yashoda Mai is grabbing Krishna. No, don't touch my son. I was like, oh, I was just coming to see the picture. This is some funny experiences we experience as devotees. The picture, the photo that I was suddenly took movement. That is what I'm saying. Yashoda Mai was animated in there. I was like, oh. So what was the meaning of that? Why was she pulling Krishna away from me? There's a pastime. Lord Shiva went to see baby Krishna. And Yashoda Mai said, don't touch my son. Because by that time her baby had been attacked many times by many different demons. So Lord Shiva in his form, you know how Lord Shiva looks. He's very, he's not very, his appearance is not normal. He's, all disheveled. His hair is long, matted. He's wearing leopard skin or something like that. So he was looking very untidy. And so Mother Yashoda was scared of him. So she thought that he will, attack her baby. So she pulled him away. So that pastime. So sometimes the point I'm trying to say is that each picture, each photo that you meditate on has a certain pastime. So that also is your meditation. And so then there are others who like to chant. It is recommended that you sit by the Tulsi Maharani. By Tulsi Maharani you chant. Or they say you do parikrama around Tulsi Maharani. Tulsi Maharani's parikrama is the best. The reason I smile is because a lot of us sometimes think we need to get rid of our sins. So now we are actually coming to the actual point, why meditate on Lord Krishna. So I'll read from here. Every parikrama that you do around Tulsi Maharani eradicates so many sins of so many lifetimes. Because we've taken billions of lifetimes and we've accumulated so many sins. I am actually accumulating sin right by sitting here and breathing, because I'm breathing in microbes and I'm breathing them out. I'm killing the microbes in the air. So I'm committing murder as I'm speaking. So that is a sin. So just imagine how much sin we've accumulated. So going around Tulsi Maharani is one of the best ones. And so we all have our own tricks to meditate on Krishna. So this morning I'm going to read to you what it actually means to meditate on Krishna. Because we are sort of like the Munis, actually. We are a little bit like the yogis. We are struggling to improve ourselves. So nowhere are we actually perfected. We are all learning in some stage. So if you are meditating on Krishna, what does it mean for you? So I'm going to read to you what's written in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Canto 1, 1.19.7. So this is what it means to meditate. To meditate. To be free from all material association means to cease completely from committing any further sins. In other words, if we withdraw our senses from material desires, we are withdrawing from the sins. To meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord, what does that mean? It means to become free from the effects of all previous sins. To be free from all previous sins. So if you have in your mind the lotus feet of Krishna and you might have some past sins, guess what? you become free from it. And there was a devotee who asked Srila Prabhupada, so this is what Srila Prabhupada said to him. The devotee said, when I'm chanting, then sometimes, this is a devotee questioning Srila Prabhupada directly, when I'm chanting, sometimes I remember how I used to be. Like, so they've sort of converted into a devotee. But they remember how they used to be, what they did, the sins they committed. Maybe they were drinking, maybe they were eating meat or something, whatever. It comes in their mind. So they said, when I'm chanting, I can remember, I get memories of the sins I committed. And Prabhupada said, yes. Prabhupada did not criticize that person. He said, yes, the sins come in your mind, but it is your choice whether you want to free yourself from these sins and change your life to, what you can be in future, what you are now. That's what he said. He said, it is up to you what you do with it. So he said we all commit sins sometimes. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, it also means to meditate on the lotus feet means to be free from the effect of previous sins. So why is it that the lotus feet of Krishna, why lotus feet? Why not his lotus hands? That's the question. Why not his lotus eyes? Why? Yes, he's got lotus eyes, right? He's got beautiful big eyes. You can't even imagine. I've never seen in my meditations or realizations his eyes. I've never seen. Although I have seen Krishna has given a side look. He always has looks from the side look. He can look like this, he can look like that. And he's a sweet smile. But the whole point, the question is, why his lotus feet? Why? What is special? So it is explained here in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you want to read further, you can go there. I'll read a little bit, 1.197, we are still on that. It is because the water of Ganges sanctifies the three worlds, right? Ganga, the water. It purifies the three worlds, and it emanates from the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead Vishnu. So it is the purity of Ganga Devi, because Ganga Devi is very pure. You take a dip in her, you are free from your sins, and she delivers us to liberation, moksha. She delivers us to the lotus feet of Krishna. She comes from the lotus feet of Krishna. So one point that was made in the Srimad Bhagavatam, why the lotus feet of Krishna? Because Ganga comes out of there. She's there at his lotus feet. Another thing I also noticed is who's there at lotus feet of Lord Krishna? Tulsi Maharani. So Tulsi Maharani is also there. So Lord Krishna is the fountainhead of the principle of Vishnu Tattva. Therefore, shelter of his lotus feet can deliver one from all sins, including an offense committed by a king onto a Brahman. So, what was the example? Example is Parikshit Maharaj. When he committed a sin, he went by the sin of actually offending a Brahmin. He had put a dead snake around a Brahmin who was meditating, because he had gone into the forest. His king Maharaj Parikshit is the descendant of the Arjun, Pandavas. So he comes from his nephew of Lord Krishna, or great-great-grandnephew of Krishna. So he comes from a good breeding lineage, and yet he committed a sin because he was feeling very thirsty or hungry, something like that, and he demanded, he went into the forest, and there was a Brahman sitting there in his ashram. He wanted some attention from the Brahman, something to eat, drink, and the Brahman continued to meditate, and so he got very mad at him. There was a dead snake there. He put a dead snake there on top of him. Not supposed to do that. That's an offense to the Brahman. So he had committed an offense, so he thought what to do. So he went by the river banks of Ganga, or the Yamuna, and he sat down and he meditated on what? He meditated on the lotus feet of Krishna. That's what he did. And that will free you from all sorts of material association, meditating on the lotus feet. So it is stated here, to meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord means to become free from the effects of all previous sins. That's what it means. The conditions of material world are made so one has to commit sins willingly or unwillingly. That's how he commits sins, willingly or unwillingly. And the best example is Parikshit Maharaj, which we just discussed. So if you want to get rid of some of the past karmas, past sins, or any future sins, if you want to stop them, if you want to hold it off, lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Start from there, meditate. So that was one point. Let me find another very interesting one is that meditating on Lord Krishna is not the only method. I know that we are discussing how to meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna, but Prahlad Maharaj, he has some idea. So on different methods. So let me read that to you. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the reference is 7.5.23. 7.5.23, Prahlad Maharaj clearly states what to do. The essential activities of devotional service. The essential activities of devotional service consists of serving upon the lotus feet. That's one. That's the fourth one. And worshipping him and praying to him. In other words, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Shakyam, Atma Nivedanam. What does that mean? Hearing about the Lord. That's what we are doing today. We are hearing. And we chant his glories, second one. We remember him, the third one. Fourth, serving and meditating upon his lotus feet. That's fourth. Worshipping him, that's fifth. Sixth is praying to him. Seventh is thinking oneself of his eternal servant as his eternal servant. 8, becoming his friend. And 9, surrendering everything to him. So there are 9 processes. If you want to get rid of any sins, if you want to serve Krishna, there are 9 different ways. And the best one now we come to the most important aspect. And this is a question I will put to you to see if you have any ideas, what your ideas are. What do you think is the best method of meditating on the Lord? Any ideas out of the 9 processes we've been given? Hearing, that is the first one. Yes, the best process. What is the one that is prescribed in this day and age? Best chanting, calling the Lord's names, hearing and chanting. These are the 2 best methods. Hearing and chanting. So this is what we need to do. However, there was a question, like, because there are 9 processes, right? Do we have to do all 9? Can we do all 9? Is it practically possible to do all 9? Maybe for some, but not for everyone. Somebody has to go to work. Somebody has to look after their kids. Somebody has a health ailment. Maybe they're in hospital, they're aging, something. So the question is that yes, you can only do one of the 9 and you'll still be delivered. You can simply chant or simply hear, or you can simply remember. And so there are different acharyas. Prahlad Maharaj simply remembered Krishna. All he did was he remembered Krishna. He couldn't do other things. And he became an acharya. So we can be like that. We can simply perfect the art of chanting. That's what Srila Prabhupada taught us. Perfect the art of chanting. And then we will basically become acharyas. And then there is another method that is described. So these are written in our Shastras, and I'm quoting from the Shastras today. So these are points that are theoretical that we can actually practically apply to us. There are 6 principles of surrender also. We surrender to Krishna. There's 6 methods of surrendering to Krishna. Apart from the meditation, apart from the chanting, apart from the hearing, there's 6 divisions, and one of them are accepting those things favorable to Krishna. That's one. accepting those things that are favorable to Krishna or devotional service. Second is rejecting unfavorable things that are an obstacle to your devotional service. So you reject it. Sometimes association is also a bad thing, certain association. So you reject it, even though you might like that association so much. Or if you like, some people like coffee. They like the what's in coffee? Caffeine. It's a hit and they like it. But it's not effective for a devotional service. It's a drug. So they have to reject it. So the acceptance and rejection comes there. Then the third one is the conviction that Krishna will give protection. That is the true mark of a devotee. Have you ever heard? They'll say, oh, Krishna will arrange it. Oh, Krishna will take care of it. If the things that's out of their control. That's what every devotee says. Krishna will take care. When the child is scared, the parent tells the child, Lord Nrsimhadev protected Prahlad Maharaj, he'll protect you. So that is how the devotees start thinking, Krishna will give all protection. And then the fourth one is accept that the Lord is one's guardian or master. Who's your boss? Krishna. Krishna's your boss. Krishna's my boss. I belong to Krishna. Nobody is my boss. Krishna is my boss. Sometimes I make that exception. Who else is my boss? My guru is my boss. Because he's a representative of Krishna. So I work under the guidelines of my guru. But essentially, who's your boss? Krishna. I belong to Krishna. Every time, that's what we should say. I belong to Krishna. I don't belong to you. I don't belong to any other thing that will want to control me. Because Krishna controls me. Of course, he's my Lord. So you should think like that. Krishna is my master. And then finally, a fifth one is full self-surrender and humility. The final one is humility. The fifth one is full surrender, self-surrender to Krishna. In other words, you do everything for Krishna. Do everything for Krishna. And humility means you understand that you are a soul and part and parcel of Krishna. Sometimes people think humility means to degrade oneself. This is my guru. He usually goes over his class. He says you shouldn't degrade yourself to say I'm, nothing like that. It's not that. It just simply means that Krishna is the Lord. You are a small, insignificant soul, obviously, but it doesn't mean that you are nothing. You are a devotee. You have a lot to offer to Krishna. You can aspire for devotional service. You can aspire to achieve things. You can aspire to be a preacher. So you still have your self-worth in that you are a servant of Krishna. So you don't undermine yourself by berating yourself. Because that's artificial. My guru says that. That's artificial and it's fake. People, try to pretend that they are so small and humble. But however, Krishna teaches you humility. There are many, many lessons. One of the stories that my Maharaj tells me, my Guru Maharaj, he says he went to Vrindavan and there's always so much crowd there. People are pushing you and there are waves of people there. And so they see a sannyasi in saffron clothes and they're supposed to, sorry about that, they're supposed to offer obeisances to sannyasi. But when they see the deities or whatever's going on, they push the sannyasi aside. And they don't care. And they just push the sannyasi aside and then move off. So my guru was saying that he got pushed aside. And he said, Krishna is keeping me humble. I'm humble. So it teaches you humility. And sometimes he says that if I do something bad, Krishna will smash me. It's true. Anybody who does anything bad, a devotee, Krishna will smash you. He'll teach you some humility. In other words, some surrender. And there are different levels of surrender. The better devotee you are, the higher the surrender. I mean, Haridas Thakur got whipped in 22 places in the market. One whip can kill a person. He was whipped in 22 markets. And he led them. I mean, how humble is that? Wow. Obviously, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took those whips on his back. So these are some of the points in meditation of Krishna. I've got some other things saved here which I can discuss in 10-15 minutes on meditation of Krishna and what it means. Because this is basically what it does is trains your mind. So we are talking about how to train your mind. Because in the beginning we had said, right, that the mind is very difficult to control. So how do we control the mind? These are your tools. These are your strategies. You are humble, you are surrendered, you reject, you accept, those things favorable, unfavorable. You try to practice the 9 devotional service, you chant. These are some practical aspects on how to become a devotee. And some things that will help you get rid of those sins, those bad stuff. Because we have many accumulated. So, in Bhagavad Gita 9.27, the translation of that shlok, it says, if anyone practices meditating on Krishna, 24 hours a day, how? By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra round his beads, he is surely the greatest meditator and greatest yogi. So if you want to know what is the best meditation, in the Bhagavad Gita it is stated. So I had asked that question earlier. What is the best method to practice meditation for us? It is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on your beads, according to the Bhagavad Gita 9.27. If you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on your beads, you are the greatest meditator. So don't take it lightly. If somebody is sitting here with a chanting bead, it is not meant to be taken lightly. They are doing one of the greatest meditations, the best one. So the purport says, thus it is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul. That is what I was saying. We have to work. And Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Dedicate your work, your life, whatever you do for Krishna. And everyone has to eat something to live. So what you do is you eat Ramanan's prasad. Any civilized person has to perform ritualistic activities. Therefore, Krishna says, do it for me. You worship Krishna. It's called Archana. Archana we can do over here as well. I think if anyone is in wants to particularly do a prayer, we approach the reception or someone from the temple and say we want to do Archana. So Archana is like worship of Krishna. They'll do it for you here at the altar. If you want Archana for Lord Narsimhadev, this is a pointer for those of us who need protection of Lord Narsimhadev. We just approach one of the pujaris, they'll do Archana for Narsimhadev here in our temple. So that's what we do, Archana. So nowadays people must be very inclined in the meditational process. And this is what it really means. I was going to read to you. Oh, here we go. Very nice. So we were taught different things in different yugas. In Satyug, how were they, does anybody know how they were, what was the recommendation for Kali Yuga? We know it's chanting. What was it that they did in Satyug? They lived 100,000 years, a long time. But what was it that delivered them? What did they do? Not quite. but you are close. Deity worship was for another yuga, another age. For Satyug, it was actually meditation, what we are reading now. It was recommended here, the process of self-realization. This is from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, by the way, chapter 8. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 8. In the Satyug, the process of self-realization was meditation. So they sat there and they went Om, 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 and they meditated. That was Satyug. This process was taught by the white incarnation of God. So in Satyug, the color of Krishna was white incarnation. And this incarnation gave a benediction to the sage Kardama, by which he could have an incarnation of the personality of Godhead as his son. So that's what was happening in Satyug. Now in the Satyug, everyone meditated on Krishna, and each and every living entity was in full knowledge. We can't do that in Kali Yuga. It's not, that kind of meditation is not really recommended for Kali Yuga. In this present Kali Yuga, people are not in full knowledge and are still attempting this meditative process, which was recommended for a previous age, not really for us. But they're trying, but it's not really effective. And then the process for self-realization recommended in Treta millennium was the performance of sacrifice. So they did yagnas. Yeah, in Treta, they did yagnas. And the color of God in that era was red. He was the red incarnation of God. And in Dwapar millennium, Krishna was personally present. Krishna was there in Dwapar. And he was worshipped by everyone by the mantra. So they worshipped him by mantras. Namaste Vasudevaya, Nama Sankarshanaya, Pradumanaya Niruddhaya, Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. This was the mantra in Dwapar millennium. Let me offer my obeisances unto Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So they did that by mantras. So mantras for Dwapar Yuga, sacrifice for Treta, meditation for Satyug, and Kali Yuga, which is us. In this age, the Lord is yellow. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he teaches people the love of Krishna by chanting the names of Krishna. So there you have it, chanting the names of Krishna. Okay, so I will stop there. There is more that I want to talk about, but we'll stop there for anyone who has any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
You mentioned earlier that Tulsi, worshipping Tulsi is beneficial for removing the
Sins, yes.
Can you explain why and why do we?
Okay, so there's a story. The question is, why does Tulsi deliver us? Why does Tulsi deliver us from sins and frees us from sins? Tulsi. So why should we chant beside Tulsi? Why? What is the reason behind it? That's the question. Tulsi Maharani is the wife of Lord Krishna. So she was a gopi in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and she's an expansion of Srimati Radharani, basically. All the gopis are. But in this particular instance, she was meeting Krishna, and Radharani saw this gopi meet Krishna, and she got very jealous, as all women will, if they see their man with somebody else. So she cursed this gopi to go down to the material world, take birth. So this gopi took birth as Tulsi Maharani. And so, however, she had desired Lord Krishna to be her husband. So to cut a long story short, she came the material world and Krishna became her husband. There's a long story. Krishna was responsible for killing her husband. Her husband was a demon in the material world. And really that her husband, who was a demon, was also a gopa in the spiritual world, who had a wish of acquiring this gopi as his wife. So he got his wish also. In the material world he came down, he got her as his wife. But Tulsi Maharani was very chaste. She was very chaste and she was a very religious, pious lady. So no one could touch her husband, even though he was a demon. He was very strong and powerful, and she was protecting him. Because killing her husband would mean death to the person who kills her husband. She was so strong and powerful due to her piety. So then Krishna had to step up. So he took the form, he changed his form and became just like her husband, entered her house and related to her just like her husband. So then Tulsi Maharani no more chaste to her husband, technically speaking. But Tulsi Maharani's desire was that she serves Lord Krishna as his wife. So she acquired Lord Krishna as his wife. So now we're coming to the point, why is she so pure? First of all, she's Lord Krishna's wife. Secondly, she's placed on Lord Krishna's, her place is at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. That is a very pure position. And Krishna gave her that benediction also. Because what happened is when Tulsi Maharani got married to Krishna, which she did, went to the Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, and all the ladies there were treating Tulsi Maharani with jealousy actually. It's funny. The ladies there like Lakshmi Devi and the others, because women do that. They don't like their husband to be, beloved to someone else. They don't like it. So they were treating Tulsi Maharani with disrespect. So they hurt Tulsi Maharani. So she got hurt and she went into the forest. And she left Krishna and she was hurt and she was crying in the forest or something like that. So Krishna had to go and pacify his wife. A good husband will go after his wife, try to bring her back. That's a good man. So Krishna, being a good husband, went to Tulsi Maharani, and Tulsi Maharani was really upset that she was being mistreated by some of the other ladies there. And so he gave her the benediction that you will be worshipped by all the devotees and they will carry you on top of their heads, which is what we do. We carry Tulsi Maharani. You will see, not so much in this temple because it's the Tulsi Maharani is in a pot, but sometimes. But if you go to Muvalamba, the boys, the brahmacharis over there will pick up Tulsi Maharani to put her back in a place. They'll carry her on the head. Then they'll take her back to her the greenhouse where they keep Tulsi Maharani. So the benediction Krishna gave personally to Tulsi Maharani. And Tulsi Maharani is none other than the expansion of Srimati Radharani anyway. So anyone, and we say in the morning when we pray to Tulsi Maharani, Yani Kani Chapapani Brahma Hatyati Kani Cha Tani Tani Pranashyanti Pradakshina Prade Pade. That means anyone who circumambulates around Srimati Tulsi Devi step by step destroys all accumulated sins. Destroys all accumulated sins, even the sin of killing a Brahman. That's how powerful benediction that Krishna gave Tulsi Maharani. And he also gave, Tulsi Maharani is so important to Krishna, he will not eat without her. So you give any food offerings, there's no Tulsi there, he will not touch it. I mean, that kind of bhava is even in our culture too. Like a husband and wife, they'll sit together and eat. My parents used to eat together. They didn't want to eat without each other. So Krishna also won't eat without his wife. So you've got to give Tulsi Maharani there. So there are many benedictions that he gave Tulsi Maharani because Tulsi Maharani was his wife. So that is why we circumambulate. Anyone who passes away, by the way, if I die or something, or anyone who dies, in our Vedic culture, they will put Tulsi Maharani in the hands, the leaves on the lips, on the mouth. Because she will carry you all the way to the spiritual world. Such is her benediction and her power. And Tulsi Maharani around your neck also. So Yamdoots don't come near you and you don't go to hell. So worshipping Tulsi Maharani is one of the most important and powerful sikshas we get in Vaishnavism. A devotee will never be where Tulsi Maharani is not. You'll notice that. Wherever there's a Vaishnav, Bhakti of Krishna, there's always Tulsi Maharani. Always. We do not worship Krishna without Tulsi Maharani. So does that answer the question? Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you very much for listening. Srimad Bhagavatam Puran ki jai. Shri Krishna. Gurudev ki jai. Hare Krishna. Yes, today is Ekadashi. I didn't mention that. I should have.